Good morning, friends. Today I want to talk to you about one simple, powerful truth. Your goals are the roadmap to your greatness. Your future success is not a matter of luck, but a matter of clarity, commitment, and consistent action. Let me ask you this. Do you know exactly what you want? Most people don't. They drift through life like ships without a rudder, hoping things will change, wishing success would just fall into their lap. One, clarity is power. It is the foundation of all achievement and the spark that ignites momentum. When you're unclear about what you want, it's like trying to hit a target while blindfolded. You might move, you might work hard, but you'll rarely hit the mark. Most people spend more time planning a weekend trip than they do mapping out the direction of their lives. The moment you become clear about what you want, everything changes. Your decisions become sharper, your energy becomes more focused, and most importantly, your actions start aligning with your desired outcomes. 2. Vague goals produce vague results. If you say you want more money, even finding $1 on the street technically fulfills that goal. That's not a win. That's aimlessness. Instead, saying, I want to earn $100,000 a year within the next 12 months by increasing my client base and expanding my services gives you a destination, a timeline, and a strategy. That level of clarity turns a general hope into a specific mission. And people on a mission don't get distracted. They get results. 3. The brain is a goal-seeking mechanism. It filters the world based on what you focus on. When you give your mind clear, specific goals, it starts scanning your environment for people, opportunities, and ideas that align with those goals. It's like setting your internal GPS. If you don't input the destination, the system can't guide you. But once you do, you'll begin to notice things you never saw before. Resources, books, conversations, and doors that were always there but never stood out. That's the power of clarity. It literally alters your perception. 4. Clarity reduces overwhelm. Without it, everything feels urgent. Everything feels important. And you end up exhausted but unproductive. Clear goals allow you to prioritize and say no to what doesn't matter. Every distraction, every temptation becomes easier to ignore because you have a standard to measure against. Does this move me closer to my goal, or does it pull me further away? With clarity, that question becomes easy to answer. Without it, you say yes to too many things and end up scattered. 5. When you know what you want, you inspire others to help you. People can't support a blurry vision. If your message is unclear, it's hard for others to buy in, refer you, or connect you with the right resources. But when you say, I'm looking for X so I can achieve Y, people know how to support you. Clarity creates momentum not just internally, but externally as well. It allows others to catch your vision and contribute to your progress. 6. Clarity saves time. A clear goal helps you eliminate busy work and focus on high-value tasks. Instead of spinning your wheels, you begin to operate with intention. You know what tasks move the needle and what's just noise. This makes you not only more productive, but more fulfilled because your efforts have purpose behind them. You're not just staying busy, you're building something that matters. 7. Clear goals fuel motivation. When you can see the finish line, it's easier to push through fatigue, setbacks, and resistance. Ambiguity breeds doubt, but clarity creates certainty. And certainty is energizing. It gives you a reason to wake up earlier, stay up later, and keep going even when the initial excitement wears off. You don't have to rely on fleeting inspiration because your vision itself becomes the fuel. 8. The process of becoming clear requires reflection. You have to ask yourself the hard questions. What do I really want? Why does it matter to me? What am I willing to sacrifice? Clarity doesn't always come instantly. Sometimes it comes through journaling, through conversations, or through taking imperfect action and refining as you go. But the pursuit of clarity is worth it. Because once you have it, you don't just walk through life, You charge forward with purpose. 2. Write it down. Writing down your goals is not just a nice idea, it's a psychological commitment. The moment you take what's in your mind and put it on paper, you transform a thought into something tangible. You give form to an idea. That act alone shifts your relationship to the goal. It goes from a passing thought to a written declaration. And written goals are far more likely to be achieved than unwritten ones, simply because they become real, measurable, and visible. Putting pen to paper is an act of clarity. It forces you to slow down and think, what exactly do I want? Not more success, but a promotion to senior manager by December 1st. Not get healthy, but lose 15 pounds by June 30th through a 5-day workout plan and clean eating. When you write it out, you strip away the fluff. You get specific. And specificity is what turns good intentions into executable plans. If it can't be written down clearly, you don't understand it clearly yet. A written goal becomes a point of focus. It serves as a compass you can come back to day after day. Life gets noisy. You'll face distractions, stress, and surprises. But when your goal is written down, you have an anchor. It becomes your daily reminder of where you're going and why it matters. You don't have to rely on memory or emotion to keep your goals alive. They're right there in black and white, staring back at you with quiet certainty. The physical act of writing engages the brain differently than just thinking or typing. Studies show that when you handwrite a goal, you engage deeper cognitive processing. You embed it more deeply into your consciousness. Your brain treats it with more importance, more seriousness. It's as if the act of writing says to your mind, this matters. Pay attention. You begin to internalize it. You start looking for ways to make it happen, often without even realizing it. Written goals hold you accountable. There's a difference between saying, I want to start a business someday, and seeing it written on your wall, launch my online store by September 15th. That level of clarity puts pressure on you in a good way. It eliminates excuses. It gives you a deadline, and with a deadline comes urgency. Now, it's not a dream you might chase one day. It's a commitment you're working toward today. Writing down your goals is also the first step to creating a plan. Once it's on paper, you can reverse engineer it. You can break it down into monthly, weekly, and daily tasks. You can prioritize and adjust. A goal in your head stays abstract. A goal on paper becomes a blueprint. And once you have a blueprint, you stop reacting and start building. You stop drifting and start directing your life with purpose. There's also emotional power in writing. A written goal stirs your imagination. It paints a picture of the future you're working toward. When you read it, you feel connected to it. It begins to influence your self-identity. You stop saying, I hope, and start saying, I will. The simple act of writing your goal can boost your confidence and renew your motivation, especially on the days you feel stuck or uncertain. Finally, a written goal is a declaration to yourself. It's proof that you're serious, that you're not just daydreaming, but decide, that you're not just talking, but acting. People who write down their goals give themselves permission to succeed. They elevate their standards. They stop hoping and they start executing. The page becomes their contract with themselves. And the first step in becoming a true goal-getter, plan relentlessly. Once your goals are written down, the next step is building the roadmap to achieve them. This is where many people stop. They have clarity, they feel excited, but they never turn that vision into a concrete plan. A goal without a plan is like a car without a steering wheel. You can hit the gas all you want, but you won't have control over where you're going. Planning bridges the gap between wanting and achieving. It turns desire into direction. Planning gives your goals structure. You break the big picture into small digestible pieces. If your goal is to write a book, planning means deciding how many chapters, how many words per week, when you'll write, and what tools or resources you'll need. The clearer the plan, the more manageable the mission becomes. Most people quit not because the goal is too hard, but because they never created a step-by-step path. The mountain looks overwhelming until you map out the trail. A relentless planner doesn't wait for the perfect condition. They don't say, "I'll figure it out later," or "I'll start when I have more time." They act now with what they have, where they are. Relentless planning means taking personal ownership of the process. It's a daily commitment to asking, "What's my next move?" and then doing it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Progress always beats perfection. But without a plan, you'll find yourself spinning in circles, wondering why nothing's changing. Planning builds momentum. Every time you cross off a task, your confidence grows. Every small win reinforces that the goal is possible, that you're capable. When you plan your work and work your plan, you gain traction. You begin to see real movement instead of scattered effort. Without a plan, motivation fades fast. But with a clear set of actions laid out in front of you, you don't need motivation. You just need discipline to follow the map you've already drawn. A powerful plan includes timelines and deadlines. Open-ended goals get pushed aside. Deadlines create urgency. They force you to prioritize and stop procrastinating. Saying, "I'll start my business," is easy to ignore. Saying, "I'll launch my first product by July 1st, sets a clock in motion. Time-bound planning forces you to focus. It makes the abstract goal real. And when it's real, you begin making decisions based on it instead of just dreaming about it. Planning relentlessly means adjusting quickly. No plan survives contact with reality exactly as expected. You'll face obstacles, delays, new information. That's why planning is not a one-time event. It's a continuous discipline. You plan, you act, you review, and you replan. You stay flexible but never directionless. You can pivot, but you never pause. The destination remains the same. Only the route shifts when necessary. Detailed planning eliminates decision fatigue. When you know exactly what you need to do each day, you don't waste energy deciding. You wake up and execute. This gives you more mental bandwidth to be creative, solve problems, and stay resilient. High performers don't wing it. They operate from a plan that's been thought through. That's what allows them to be calm in chaos and focused in the middle of noise. Lastly, relentless planners don't just plan tasks. They plan their growth. They ask themselves, "What skills do I need to reach this goal?" and then schedule time to learn them. They think in terms of systems and routines, not just to-do lists. Their plan includes rest, learning, execution, and review. Because they understand, planning isn't just about getting things done. It's about becoming the kind of person who can do them well. 4. Take daily action. This is where dreams either live or die. You can have the clearest goal, the sharpest written plan, and the most detailed blueprint. But if you're not taking action every single day, it means nothing. Action is the bridge between intention and outcome. Success doesn't come from what you know, it comes from what you do. Daily action compounds. It builds momentum, builds confidence, and builds results. The people who win are the ones who move, not the ones who just think. Daily action creates rhythm. It turns your goal into a lifestyle instead of a one-time effort. A person who writes 1 page a day ends the year with a book. A person who makes 5 calls a day builds a business. A person who trains for 30 minutes daily transforms their health. It's not about huge leaps. It's about consistent, focused steps. Those steps repeated over time separate the successful from the stagnant. There's power in routine. Your habits shape your future more than your ambition. Small actions done daily are more powerful than big bursts of occasional effort. Most people wait for inspiration. They try to feel ready or wait for a perfect day. But high achievers act regardless of how they feel. They've trained themselves to show up, to move forward, to chip away at the goal. The truth is, your dream doesn't need grand gestures. It needs grit. It needs you to do something today that moves the needle, even if it's just 1 inch forward. Daily action turns fear into courage. The more you act, the less intimidating your goal becomes. Action kills anxiety. The unknown becomes known. The impossible becomes doable. You start to realize that most of the limits were just in your head. By doing a little each day, you train your brain to focus on progress instead of perfection. You don't need to take massive risks every day. You just need to prove to yourself that you can keep going, no matter what. When you act daily, your results start to compound. Each task builds on the last. Skills sharpen. Opportunities grow. You meet new people, attract new energy, and gain new insights simply because you're in motion. Action creates feedback. You start to see what works, what doesn't, and where to improve. You stop guessing and start learning. And with that knowledge, your next action becomes smarter. Your progress accelerates. Your results multiply. Consistency beats intensity every time. Anyone can work hard for a day. What matters is who can show up day after day, when the hype wears off and no one's watching. The discipline to take action even when it's hard. That's what creates transformation. It's not glamorous. It's not always fun, but it works. You don't get fit in a single workout or wealthy from a single sale. You build your future brick by brick through repeated intentional action. Taking daily action builds identity. You begin to see yourself not as someone trying, but as someone doing. A writer writes daily. An entrepreneur solves problems daily. A healthy person makes good choices daily. The more you act in alignment with your goal, the more you embody the identity of someone who achieves. You're not just chasing results, you're becoming the type of person who produces them naturally. And once identity shifts, results follow. The truth is, there is no perfect time. There's only now, today, this moment. You don't need more motivation, more research, or more approval. You need movement. 1 email sent, 1 page written, 1 rep done. The action doesn't have to be dramatic, but it does have to happen. Daily. That's the price of progress. You pay it with effort, every single day, until the goal is no longer a dream, but a lived reality. 5. Develop self-discipline. If goals are the destination and action is the vehicle, then self-discipline is the fuel that keeps it all running. It's the internal muscle that pushes you to do what you should do, especially when you don't feel like doing it. Without self-discipline, even the best plans collapse under the weight of inconsistency. You can't rely on moods or motivation. Feelings are fleeting, but discipline is dependable. It shows up when inspiration is nowhere to be found. Discipline is freedom in disguise. Most people think of it as restriction, giving up fun, comfort, or spontaneity. But real discipline doesn't take your freedom away. It gives it to you. It allows you to control your time, your results, your habits, and ultimately your destiny. The disciplined person can create the life they want. The undisciplined one ends up a slave to impulse, procrastination, and regret. Every choice becomes a battle between comfort and control. Discipline makes sure you win that battle. Building self-discipline starts with small, consistent promises. When you tell yourself, I'm waking up at 6 a.m., or I'll write for 30 minutes today, and follow through, you strengthen your self-trust. You prove to yourself that your word matters, that you're someone who follows through. That internal reputation is critical, because when your mind knows you keep your promises, your confidence grows. You stop hesitating. You stop making excuses, and you start executing. Discipline thrives on structure, set routines, clear boundaries, defined priorities. Don't wait to feel motivated. Build a schedule and stick to it. Plan your day the night before. Eliminate distractions in advance. The more decisions you can remove through structure, the less resistance you'll face when it's time to act. You don't need willpower for everything, just enough to stick to the system you've already created. That's how high performers make hard things look easy. They made it automatic through discipline. The key to developing discipline is repetition. You don't become disciplined overnight. You become disciplined by repeatedly choosing growth over comfort, effort over excuses, the long-term win over the short-term pleasure. Every time you make the harder choice, you reinforce your identity as someone in control. And the more you reinforce that identity, the easier it becomes to act in alignment with your goals, even when it's inconvenient. Discipline requires sacrifice, but the rewards are worth it. You might sacrifice sleeping in, scrolling your phone, skipping workouts, or splurging on things you don't need. But in return, you gain progress. You gain clarity. You gain pride. The pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of regret can last a lifetime. Choose your discomfort wisely. One leads to progress. The other leads to stagnation. One builds a legacy. The other wastes your potential. Self-discipline also protects your energy. It helps you say no to things that don't serve you. No to distractions. No to obligations that pull you away from your purpose. It filters your focus so you can concentrate on what truly matters. Without discipline, you say yes to everything and end up depleted. But with discipline, you guard your time like your future depends on it. Because it does. Every no is a yes to your bigger vision. Lastly, self-discipline builds resilience. It trains you to keep going when things get tough. Life will throw challenges, delays, failures your way, and discipline keeps you steady through it all. You don't fold when the road gets hard. You don't crumble when you feel tired or unsure. You keep showing up. Because you've trained yourself to lead, not follow. To move forward, not retreat. And that consistent forward motion, no matter how small, is what eventually separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. 6. Visualize success. Before you can achieve something great, you must see it in your mind. Visualization is not daydreaming. It's a powerful mental rehearsal tool used by world-class performers, athletes, and entrepreneurs alike. When you visualize your goals vividly and repeatedly, you condition your subconscious mind to believe in them. And once your mind believes something is possible, your behavior begins to align with that belief. Visualization becomes the internal spark that drives external action. The mind responds to images more powerfully than words. When you close your eyes and imagine yourself crushing your goals, giving the presentation, crossing the finish line, earning the promotion, you're training your brain. The brain doesn't distinguish much between imagined success and real experience. The same neural pathways light up. This mental rehearsal strengthens your confidence, reduces performance anxiety, and builds a deep sense of familiarity with winning. When the real moment comes, it feels like you've already been there. Visualization works best when it's detailed and emotional. Don't just see the result, feel it. Imagine the sounds, the environment, the people around you, the feeling of victory. See your name on the achievement. Feel the pride in your chest. Hear the applause or compliments. The more senses you involve, the more real it becomes. And the more real it feels, the more your body and mind begin to act as if it's already on its way to becoming true. This practice isn't just motivational, it's strategic. When you visualize your goals daily, you start spotting opportunities and solutions that were always there, but previously invisible. Your subconscious mind becomes a radar system tuned into your goal. You begin attracting ideas, people, and situations that align with your vision. This isn't magic, it's focus. What you consistently think about, you begin to act on. Visualization is simply a tool to focus the mind on the right target over and over again. Successful people visualize with intention. They don't just fantasize, they mentally rehearse the challenges too. They visualize overcoming setbacks, staying calm under pressure, bouncing back from mistakes. This kind of mental preparation creates mental toughness. It trains you not just to see the finish line, but to move through the mess that might come before it. When you've already seen yourself push through the hard days, you're far less likely to quit when they actually arrive. Visualization reinforces belief, and belief is non-negotiable when you're chasing big goals. You have to see yourself as the person who can and will make it happen. Most people fail because they can't imagine themselves succeeding. They don't believe they deserve it or that they're capable. Visualization chips away at those doubts. It replaces them with a clear mental image of who you are becoming. And when belief changes, everything changes. Consistency is the secret. One visualization session won't change much, but doing it daily creates a new mental script. Whether you use a vision board, guided visualization, or silent meditation, the key is repetition. Start your day seeing yourself win. End your day reinforcing that image. It plants the goal deeper into your subconscious, making it a natural part of your decision-making and action. You start showing up differently, not because you're pretending, but because you're training. Visualization is your personal movie trailer for success. It reminds you of the story you're writing. It keeps your imagination alive, your energy up, and your motivation. In a world full of distractions, it centers you on the outcome that matters, and the more clearly you see it, the more powerfully you pursue it. First you picture it, then you prepare for it, then through relentless effort, you live it. 7. Track your progress. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. Progress tracking is the ultimate reality check. It tells you what's working, what's not, and where to adjust. Too many people set goals and start strong, but then drift off course because they never stop to check them out. Tracking your progress keeps your vision grounded in data, not just feelings. It turns guesswork into awareness and allows you to move with strategy, not just hope. What gets measured gets improved. When you track your actions, whether it's hours studied, sales calls made, words written, pounds lost, you bring awareness to your habits. You can't improve what you ignore. Tracking forces you to face the truth, and sometimes that truth is uncomfortable. But progress never comes from avoiding discomfort. It comes from confronting it, learning from it, and taking smarter action because of it. Progress tracking builds motivation. Every time you see a number go up, a box get checked, or a milestone hit, your confidence rises. It reminds you that your efforts are paying off. It's proof that you're moving forward. In the beginning, progress might be slow, almost invisible, but when you track it, even the small wins stand out. And small wins over time create massive momentum. They turn daily effort into undeniable proof that success is building. Tracking also keeps you consistent. When you know you have to log your effort at the end of the day or week, you're more likely to follow through. It adds accountability even if it's just to yourself. You move from intention to execution because now you have a system to stay honest. Discipline becomes easier when you're measuring results, because each data point is a reminder. I did something today to get closer to my goal. Data doesn't lie. Feelings fluctuate. You might think you're working hard, but the numbers show you skipped 3 days last week. Or maybe you feel stuck, but tracking reveals steady improvement. This is the power of numbers. They bring clarity, and clarity creates confidence. With clear data in front of you, you can make adjustments. You can double down on what's working and eliminate what's not. You can be intentional instead of reactive. Tracking gives you control over the long game. Goals aren't achieved in a straight line. There will be plateaus, setbacks, even regressions. But when you track your progress, you start seeing trends, not just isolated events. You begin to understand your own rhythms. Maybe you notice you do better in the mornings. Maybe you realize weekends throw you off. This self-awareness is priceless. It lets you fine-tune your plan based on real feedback, not just guesswork. Use whatever system works for you. Just make sure it's consistent. It could be a journal, a spreadsheet, a habit tracking app, or a whiteboard in your room. The tool doesn't matter as much as the habit. What matters is that you're checking in with yourself regularly. Weekly reviews, daily logs, milestone checkpoints. These create a rhythm of accountability that keeps your mind focused and your efforts aligned with your destination. Ultimately, tracking transforms you from a passive dreamer into an active achiever. You stop hoping for success and start engineering it. You build a relationship with your goals based on evidence, not emotion. And the more progress you see, the more driven you become to keep going. Each recorded action becomes a brick in the foundation of your future, and before you know it, the structure you've been building begins to take form. 8. Never quit. The road to success is rarely straight. In fact, it's often winding, full of obstacles and riddled with moments where the easiest choice feels like giving up. But quitting is the one sure way to guarantee failure. The people who succeed aren't necessarily the most talented or the luckiest. They're the ones who simply refuse to quit, no matter what. They persist through challenges, setbacks, and failures, because they understand that success isn't a destination, it's a journey, and the only way to reach the end is to keep moving forward. Perseverance is the differentiator between winners and everyone else. When you commit to never quitting, you're committing to showing up every day, no matter how you feel. You're deciding that your goal is more important than your comfort zone. Success doesn't happen overnight, and the path will rarely be clear. But those who refuse to quit turn every failure into a lesson, every delay into an opportunity to improve. They understand that every challenge faced is just another part of the story, not a reason to abandon the journey. Quitting is often just a temporary feeling of doubt. When things get tough, your mind will try to tell you that it's easier to stop, because quitting offers immediate relief from the discomfort you're facing. But that relief is short-lived. What you might not realize in the moment is that quitting means giving up the long-term rewards, the pride, the growth, the success. Most people quit just before the breakthrough happens, not knowing how close they were to their goal. The key is to push through the doubts, because the most powerful moments of growth often come after the toughest challenges. To never quit, you must fall in love with the process, not just the outcome. The results are important, but the daily effort is what shapes you. When you focus only on the goal, it's easy to get discouraged when things don't happen as quickly as you expect. But when you fall in love with the journey, the small wins, the challenges, the lessons, you start to see progress in everything you do. The key is to keep going even when you don't feel like it. Consistency is the fuel that will keep you going, even on the days you feel like quitting. The road will be hard, but that's where growth happens. When things feel impossible, you're actually in the best place for growth. Every obstacle you face is an opportunity to stretch your limits, to learn more about yourself, and to develop resilience. If success were easy, everyone would have it. The challenges you face on your journey are not signs of failure. They're signs that you're pushing yourself to become the person who can handle your goals. Quitting is easy, but pushing through builds the character and skills you need to succeed. Your why is the foundation that keeps you going. The deeper your reason for pursuing your goal, the stronger your resolve will be when times get tough. If your purpose is clear and your passion is strong, you will find the strength to keep going even when it seems like all odds are against you. Ask yourself why you started in the first place. What is at stake? What is it that you are working towards? When you remember your why, quitting becomes not just an option, it becomes unacceptable. Your dreams are bigger than any temporary setback. You don't need to see the entire path ahead to keep going. Often we get discouraged because the destination seems too far away, or the journey too uncertain. But you don't need to have every step mapped out, just take the next step, and then the next. Success isn't about having everything figured out from the beginning, it's about having the courage to take the first step and then taking another, no matter how unclear the road ahead may seem. Focus on what you can do right now. Focus on the action you can take today. Over time, those small, consistent actions will add up. Never quitting doesn't mean ignoring your limits. It means knowing when to pivot and adjust. Persistence doesn't mean blindly pushing forward when something isn't working. It means finding new solutions, adapting, and being willing to change your approach without losing sight of your ultimate goal. It's about resilience, not rigidity. There will be times when you need to pause, reassess, and adapt. But quitting should never be the solution. The determination to keep going, no matter what, will always keep you one step closer to the success you seek. In the end, the journey to achieving your goals isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. It's about waking up every day, making the decision to move forward, and putting in the work, no matter how difficult it seems. It's about taking small, consistent actions, adjusting when needed, and never letting setbacks define you. The true goal-getter is someone who keeps going, even when the path isn't clear and the results aren't immediate. So remember, your dreams are possible, but it's not enough to just wish for them. You must decide to take ownership of them, to work relentlessly toward them, and most importantly, to never quit. With clear goals, unwavering discipline, daily action, and a refusal to give up, there's nothing that can stop you. This is your journey. This is your time. Embrace the process. Trust in your vision, and let nothing stand in the way of the person you are becoming. The world is waiting for you to show up. Stay focused, stay determined, and never ever quit.